UFC, underrated, unexpected, future champions. Let's get straight on into it, boys. Before we get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get into it. We're starting it off. We're going to start it off going flyweight. We're going to go all the way up to heavyweight, man. We're going to go flyweight to heavyweight, starting off with flyweight. You already know flyweights, it's kind of hard to find a future champ. When you got Alessandro Pantoja as champion. I'm not trying to glaze or anything, but Pantoja is super well rounded, gonna be champion for a while. I truly believe. He's defended the belt a few times now. He's looked amazing in every single fight. He's just proven that there's levels to flyweight. There's levels to his division. And most prospects have been shut down at flyweight. But there is one prospect that I still believe has a chance to be champion in the future, and I can see him getting that belt in the future, and that is Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira, man, came off of a bad loss to Brandon Royval, but you can't really call it a bad loss. The only reason people would call it a bad loss is because Tatsuro Taira was undefeated. He is now not undefeated. Of course, this is MMA. This is not boxing. You can't stay undefeated forever. But it was a close fight, man. Tatsuro Taira was a huge favorite for understandable reasons. He was undefeated. Of course, the odds are going to make him the huge favorite. But Brandon Royval pulled that fight off. Very close split decision, though. Tatsuro Taira looked good in that fight. He looked good in that fight. The only thing that he lacked was experience. And going that entire 5 rounds, he'd never done that before. And going up against a guy in Royval he's fought the top contenders. Brandon Royval is the top contender. He's number 1 contender in the world at flyweight, and he deserves that spot. Raw dog, he's very good. Brandon Royval is very good. I don't know if he'll ever get the belt, but Tatsuro Taira, man, I think he's got a solid chance of getting that belt. He's super young. I believe he's 25 years old, maybe a bit older, but I think he is 25 years old. Young flyweight, very, very diverse, great on the ground, great on the feet, very well-rounded. I can definitely see a future where Tatsuro Taira is the champion of the flyweight division. The other option I had as a, secondary option was Amir Albazi, but he got pretty dominated by the other Brandon Moreno, but both prospects got shut down, and I just believe that Tatsuro Taira has a better chance at bouncing back, getting a good win, and getting back into that conversation of the top 5 and maybe a title eliminator bout, or challenging for the belt. Eventually, I do see Tatsuro Taira becoming a champion in the future. Moving on, though, we got bantamweight. Bantamweight, there's not many unexpected, unpredictable guys. I was looking at the rankings. It's pretty difficult to find somebody that you believe is going to be a future champ. When you're looking at people, when I'm looking at the top 10, I don't really see anybody beating Merab. The only potential guy that I see being a future champ, and the future champ of the bantamweight division, is Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know you guys don't want me to glaze. I'm not trying to glaze, man. He got destroyed by Merab. I'm on Merab's side. I love Merab Dvalishvili, but he won't be around forever. He's admitted, he's 34, I think 34, 35 years old. You can't stay around for that long when you are getting older in a division like bantamweight, which is so stacked, and you just have to have such a huge level of, just a multitude of tools in your bag is what I'm trying to say. Multitude of tools in your bag, and you have to keep that speed, that strength, that power at a very, very difficult division in bantamweight, which a lot of people can consider the most difficult division in the UFC. I don't think it's the most difficult. I think some of the higher divisions are more difficult, but Umar Nurmagomedov, he showed against Merab, he can go the 5 rounds. Obviously, he can go the 5 rounds. He can go the distance. He fought Corey Sandhagen, beat Corey Sandhagen clearly, lost to Merab. It was pretty close. Obviously, Merab won that fight. I don't think it was a robbery. Everybody that says that fight was a robbery don't know what they watched. Seriously, Merab took over in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but it was a close fight nonetheless. And once Umar levels up his cardio, you already know Khabib got him doing all sorts of cardio exercises since they got back to Dagestan. You already know, man. And I mean, look what happened with Islam. Islam lost one fight, bounced back, and has not lost since. I think this will be same case scenario with Umar Nurmagomedov. He just needs the experience. And I do see him being a future champ. But we move on to the featherweight division. Featherweight, there's some guys that you could put in there, and there's a guy that, like, I don't think anybody would be thinking this as future champ. I do believe that there is a potential chance, very slim chance, but I do see that this could be a possibility. And that dude is Arnold freaking Allen. Arnold Almighty Allen. I know it sounds ridiculous. Arnold Allen lost to Evloev. He lost to Max Holloway. He lost to some of these top featherweight guys, right? But when we're looking at, future contenders, future future challengers, Arnold Allen is very well rounded, very very well rounded. He was able to wrestle with Evloev. He's able to land clean shots. He's got a lot of power at featherweight. People forget, Arnold Allen got a lot of power at featherweight. Knocked out Dan Hooker. He's knocked out some pretty good guys, and the only people he's lost to is really, really top contenders. And a lot of people say that Arnold Allen he had a very close fight with Movsar Evloev. He had a very close fight with Movsar Evloev, and I genuinely think if they rematched, Arnold Allen could win that fight, and I do believe he has a chance of beating, Diego Lopez if they fought as well, who is another title contender, another title challenger. Arnold Allen is very underrated at featherweight, and I do see him making a decent run in the future if he keeps up and keeps active. I do see Arnold Allen potentially getting a shot at the title, getting at least a title shot at some point. Whether or not he wins that, I don't know, but I do believe Arnold Allen will get a title shot and potentially become a champion. But we will move on to lightweight. Lightweight's a very, very competitive division. That is my favorite division. I will be honest. Maybe it's just because Charles Oliveira's in it, but I don't know. I think it is the most competitive division. When you look at that top five, if you want a chance at fighting for the belt, if you want a chance to even fight Islam Makhachev, you got to get through Dan Hooker. He's not even top five. You got to get through, but you got to get through Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, freaking Arman Sarukian, Charles Oliveira, and then you get to fight Islam. Like, it's an absolute blood fest. It's an absolute war to try to get that title shot. But the guy that I believe is, future champion material, and this might sound crazy. I got another crazy one, man. Dan freaking Hooker. If he beats Justin Gaethje, he will get a title shot. He will get a title shot, or he will get a title eliminator, and he will get a shot at that title. Especially, he's got a very good chance at getting a title shot and a very good chance at becoming champ if Islam Makhachev moves up. Shavkat versus Bilal will be booked very soon. It will be booked very soon within the next month or two. It will be booked. It seems like it might be booked for UFC 315. We don't know yet, but if that fight is booked and Shavkat wins that fight, Islam's going to want to move up. He might just fully ignore Arman Sarukian after he pulled out. We don't know. But if Shavkat is champ at 170, Islam will move up. He will go for that second belt. And that gives a good opening for Dan Hooker, because if he beats Justin Gaethje and Islam moves up, Dan Hooker's already fought Islam. Islam subbed him. Obviously Islam was on the come up, very dominant. That was a difficult fight. So Dan Hooker lost that fight. But if Islam's in a different division and there is a fight or a challenge to get that lightweight belt, because he's going to have to give the belt, he's not going to defend two belts, I don't think. I think he would give it up, go to 170, fight for that belt. Dan Hooker to have a solid chance of getting that belt. He is aging as well. All those guys in the top five are aging, but I think Dan Hooker, he's got enough CTE to carry him there, man. He's got enough CTE, and he loves the game. He loves the fight. He's strong, he's powerful, and he's very well rounded. He beat Matus Gamrot. He's on a 3-fight win streak right now. He's on a 3-fight win streak. If he beats Justin Gaethje, he's got a solid case to potentially fight for that belt. Will he win it? I'm not 100% sure, but I do think he is underrated to get that belt and become champ. But we will move on to 170 welterweight division. We got Bilal as champ, man. Future champ at 170. You already know who it is, man. Joaquin Numansa Buckley. Joaquin Buckley has showed absolute levels this year, man. Since moving down from 185 to 170, he's looked absolutely amazing. Destroyed his last 4 opponents. Just destroyed Colby Covington. Sent him into retirement, basically, man. He absolutely brutalized Colby Covington. Cut the shit out of his face. Before that, he knocked out Wonder Boy. Before that, he beat, I think it was Nursultan Ruziboev. Anyways, he's on a 4-fight win streak right now. I think it's more than 4 fights. 4 or 5 wins. Sorry, he won 4 times in 2024. Absolutely dominant stuff. It looks amazing at 170. He looks amazing at 170. He's got power. He's a great wrestler. He's able to pick his shots clean shots, and he's got a lot of power. That's all I gotta say, man. Like, Joaquin Buckley, I can see him beating guys like Jack Della Maddalena, Shavkat Rakhmonov, like these guys that are contending for the belt soon. I can see Joaquin Buckley in that conversation. I can see him beating some of those dudes. But we'll have to see what happens with the matchmaking. Obviously, we've got JDM versus Leon soon. We're gonna have Shavkat versus Bilal, of course, and then I think we're gonna get Buckley versus Usman. I hope. We'll see. Buckley's called it out. We'll see what happens, but that is the fight to make, and I think Joaquin's got a solid chance of fighting for the belt in the next year or two. But we will move on to 185 middleweight division. We got DDP as champ right now. DDP's a good champ. will he stay champ for a while? I don't think so, man. I'm gonna be honest. I think he will lose to Khamzat Chimaev, but there's some solid guys to try and take Khamzat down and beat Khamzat. Not take him down, Khamzat's the takedown guy, but I do think there are some guys that can beat Khamzat Chimaev, and an underrated potential future champ, man, or an unexpected guy. It's got to be Caio Borralho, man. Caio Borralho has showed that he is in there. He's got great cardio. He's great on the feet. If he wants, he can take it to the ground. He doesn't even bother to take it to the ground. He fought Jared Cannonier. He didn't even shoot a single takedown. You got to respect that, man. Did not shoot a straight takedown. He swung and banged it out on the feet for the whole 25 minutes with a guy who's very dangerous in Jared Cannonier. Cannonier's got power, and Caio Borralho stuck there, had a huge, huge cut on his face, just kept throwing hands. He's he's got good endurance, very good endurance, and I think he's the kind of guy that could wear out a guy in Khamzat or even Imavov, if Imavov's champ, whatever the case may be. And I think Caio Borralho's got a solid chance to become champ in the future if he slowly makes his way up. He's number 6 or something like that. Like right now, he needs at least one more fight, and then I think he can fight for that belt. And I think he's got a solid chance to get there, man. But we will move on to light heavyweight. At 205, we got Alex Pereira still as champ, man. He's a good champ, but he is 37 years old, man. Alex is going to be retiring soon. I don't think he's going to stick it around till he's in his 40s. I don't see that being the case. He's got a lot of fights, dominated a bunch of people, got a bag, man. He's got a solid bag. He's fighting Ankalaev soon. We'll see what happens. Obviously, already Alex Pereira is in the talks for one of the best light heavyweights of all time. Of course, there's going to be John Jones, but Alex Pereira has done a significant amount of damage in only a few years in the light heavyweight division and the middleweight division. But I'm not glazing Alex Pereira right now. We are talking about the dude at light heavyweight that has a solid chance to become champ. I think an underrated, unexpected pick at light heavyweight has got to be Carlos Ulberg, man. Carlos Ulberg has been on an absolute tear at light heavyweight. He looks like the perfect, well-rounded guy to become a champion. Not an excessive amount of power, but his speed, his accuracy, the way he's able to move around as a 205-pound guy is insane. It's incredible. I think there's a solid talk to say that, he's got a solid chance of getting it, man. Carlos Ulberg has a solid chance of getting a title shot in the next year or two. He's fighting Jan Blachowicz soon. Blachowicz is only getting older. He's been inactive. I think Carlos Ulberg wins that fight. I think he wins that fight. Maybe he wins one more, and then he gets a title shot, man. And Carlos Ulberg, he's just shown that he can either take it to the ground, keep it on the feet. He's able to do basically anything. And he's got a solid chin. Besides getting knocked out by Kennedy and Nzechukwu, which I think was like his first fight or second fight, he's looked great. Just came off a win over Volkan Ozdemir, who's got heavy hands. He was able to take those shots, and he was able to land better shots, be able to circle around, just piece him up on the feet. So I think Carlos Ulberg has a solid chance to become champ in the next year or two. We'll see what happens, though, with Alex Pereira. But we will move on to heavyweight. And heavyweight, you already know who I'm going to say, man. It's a tough pick. It's a tough pick to say who's going to... I'm just kidding. Shamil the Blob Gaziev. I'm so serious on this, man. Shamil Gaziev looks like a way better version of himself. He's completely left that shell of himself behind in that Rosenstrike fight. That was a 5-rounder. Didn't have the cardio. He upped his cardio, man. Upped his cardio. His power looks great. I think he's only going to rise up in the rankings. Maybe it'll take a while to get to that champion level, but by then it'll be an open path for him to try and get that belt, unless Tom Aspinall is still champ. But yeah, I genuinely think Shamil Gaziev's got a solid chance to be an underrated champ. Now, this might be a bit of a troll pick, but you already know we love Shamil the Blob Gaziev. Anyways, boys, that is going to be the wrap for the video. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop your comments down below. If you guys agree with my underrated and unexpected picks for future champs, and if you don't, let me know in the comments down below, but I will catch you boys in the next one. See you.